We are live. Do 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 do. See if anyone's gonna chime in. Live stream. Live stream. Let's see. Oh, we've got our first one. Aaron, hey, from Idaho. Gonna wait for some people to jump on board. Looks like they're starting to finally come in. Hello, Will. Mostly we're gonna do a Q&A, but don't ask questions just yet. I'm gonna let some people get on board and kind of establish some, I don't know, rules. Hello, Fox. Damma Mama, Drew's Custom, Little Turtle, Terry Gilbert. And my wife is here off camera, so she is going to, M. Houston, hello. She's gonna kind of help moderate, but mostly help me with the comments because sometimes they get going fast and I can't keep up with them. So hold off to just yet on your questions, and I'll get to those. We are having, yes, Lee, you must be somewhat in my area. We are having a thunderstorm right now, and it's kind of, I think we're kind of in the middle right now where it's part of it's passed through, but they're saying it's going to get pretty heavy going here in a little while, maybe an hour or so. So I'm hoping that we can get this done, have a good hour to chat, because you know how it is out here in the sticks. Thunderstorms come through and we may lose our internet service. Sometimes it drops out or starts running really slow to where I couldn't do the live stream. So we're hoping. Oh,
sorry.
My wife just logged in, and if you heard that. So we're hoping that we can have a little bit of time to talk, and it may not affect the internet at all. Do I need to tilt it down a little bit?
There's too much space over your head.
Is it? Okay. We'll see. All right. She's over here telling me how to adjust my camera. Hello, all. Lee says hello, wife.
Hello, Lee. Lee or Lisa?
Lee. My wife's name is Rivka. New sub from Southern Missouri. Hello, Wesley. So, Tuba, you're a long-time listener there. So, I just thought I'd get on here and we could do some questions and answers, basically. I don't know, there's a few things. There's not really anything pressing that I wanted to talk about. We are having a meeting coming up towards the end of this month, August 22nd. And it looks to be, it's going to be a big one. In fact, I've been telling you guys for months now that we have this huge facility, and it is. But with the amount of emails that I'm getting, and I understand that for those of you that's ever done something, held any type of meeting whatsoever, you know that not everyone that contacts you is going to show up. But I have been getting a lot of people wanting to come to the meeting.
So we already have two questions. Ask people to kind of...
Yeah, hold off on the questions just for a minute. And I think what we're going to do, I know Alaska Prepper, he does this, and it seems to work pretty well. If you have a question that you're hoping that I will see and answer, try to put it in all caps. Because sometimes, on our end, the questions are just, the comments are going through pretty fast. And it gets a little too much to keep up with. But I'll let you know here in just a couple of minutes. I'd say we'll open the floor up for questions. But we have this meeting scheduled. I talked to two of the speakers today that's scheduled to come, and they're excited. They're going to be there. We're going to be talking about gold and silver, not just from the perspective of stacking, collecting, stacking gold and silver, but I think we're also going to talk about, or at least he's going to talk about, the using it as an actual currency again, which is what, of course, it's meant to be. And how, you know, we can get back to that point, and, you know, encouraging businesses to accept it. Many states, including here in Missouri, it is considered still a legal tender. It's supposed to be a legal tender in the entire United States. And Dr. D from Springfield, and I saw someone there, I think from, was it Independence? Yes, Independence, another Missourian. Someone from Montana. Hello, Brian. And then we're going to have a little demonstration. Someone that has multiple black belts and teaches self-defense classes. And I know that may not, you might think, well, that's not a normal kind of prepping, homesteading meeting. And I kind of think it kind of is. You all know that, you know, the violent crime is on a rise. And while many of you may know how to handle yourself, some of you may not. And so this person's just going to give us some quick little pointers. You know, if you come in contact with people, maybe it's a crowd or, you know, riots and things like that, maybe how to get out of it. And so we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about our community seed bank that we're working on, and fall gardening, and
So you have 2 people already
maybe something else.
that
We'll
have
see.
asked if they can bring seeds to share.
Yes, absolutely.
And then
So-
somebody wants to know where the meeting is, and you might tell
Okay.
people.
So
where
if
to
you
do it.
want to know where the meeting is, I don't broadcast that on the internet here, because sometimes kookies and crazies, well, you know, they see that. So you can shoot me an email. I'll have my wife leave it in the comments, the prepared homestead at protonmail.com. Prepared homestead, all one word, at protonmail.com. And I'll you know, give you the details of the meeting if you'd like to attend. And if you're wanting to bring seeds to add to the seed bank, go ahead and do so. We're just getting started on this. If you didn't know, I've mentioned it a few times. Someone in the group, I may have mentioned it this morning in this morning's video, donated around 50 or 60 pounds of good quality heirloom seeds. They've been vacuum sealed. They've been stored very well. And Brian, did you not get an email? Well, if it's just been the last few days, I'm still getting caught up. So bear with me. I will get to the emails. Anyway, so he donated all these seeds with the intention of us creating a seed bank to kind of get us going. But if you have seeds to bring to the meeting to add to that, go ahead. We're still working out all the details of, you know, the proper way to store them, how we're going to store all that much, and keep. Yes, in Houston. Yes, it's a huge tub. Some of these were his mother's. There's a lot, and it's pretty amazing. The donation, it was very generous. And so we're going to figure out how to, you know, we've got some volunteers that's going to help us catalog them and keep track of that, so that we keep track of it. Anyways, so that's kind of what's going on with the meeting. We are having some door prizes. And I don't know if we figured out yet, because someone else is kind of taking over for that for me. But we've had some silver, and I should have had some out here. You all know what a silver eagle looks like. Genuine United States silver eagles. Someone has donated 10 of them, and we're going to have them as door prizes. We'll have some little tickets that you pick up, and we'll work out the details and make all that announcements at the meeting. But those will be given away at this meeting, and I might have a few other, much less value, but a few other things to give away also. So that's the details. No, silver eagle though, 1 ounce, not quarters, 1 ounce. Sorry, I didn't clarify that. These are 1 ounce silver eagles, not the quarters. Can you go, they're over in there on the top of my dresser. People are wanting to know this little silver. For those of you that don't know, my wife's gonna go in there and grab one of ours. This isn't one of the ones that's donated. This one's mine.
Brian, like
I'm
from, I think that's
maybe. Yes, 1 ounce silver eagle. That's correct. Is what has been donated For those of you that don't know or unsure of what I'm referring to, I should have grabbed one of mine to just show you as an example, but my wife is in there grabbing one, so I'll show you here in just a second. But that's exciting also. The gentleman that has donated these, yes, it is a very nice donation. He said that his desire is to really build, that community around here, to get people together that they can, thank you, sweetie, that they can learn and make connections and stuff. So anyways, this is one of mine, but it will look just like this. I don't know what dates that he has, so that's kind of irrelevant. But anyways, a genuine silver eagle, 1 ounce. 10 of them have been donated. So that will also be given away to people there. So we've had, I'm going to go through the comments here. NWA Prepper is on here.
Hi.
Gray, hey buddy. Gray Man Prepping is on here. Guys, some of you other prepper channels. For those of you that have wondered, because this question has come up, a lot of these prepper channels make joint videos, and I'm never on them. And I have been asked in the past. In fact, Pinball Prepping has asked several times, and in the past, I did not have enough internet bandwidth to do. That's why I didn't do live streams. I couldn't do it. I couldn't connect to like a Zoom call or anything like that because our internet was so limited. That's been taken care of now. We now finally have internet like the rest of the modern world. So maybe at some point you'll see me on doing something like that.
Any more questions?
All right. I think I've yapped on enough. Let's open this up for some actual questions. Do what?
I have questions.
Oh, my wife has a question.
No. Somebody's asked twice now.
Uh-huh.
Canning meats in an Instapot. Do you know anything about that?
I've never canned meat in an Instapot. I would think it's just no different than... Well, now, hold on. Take it back. Instapots are not... Yes, NWA Prepper's asking if I could do a joint video. I could do a joint video. Smart Life. I'll get to your question here in just a minute, and I think there was another one. Instapots aren't really recommended to can anything in. I'm not exactly sure on why. Now, we have a different brand. It is we have a regular canners, but we have a... I can't remember the brand of it, but it's not an Instapot, but it's like an Instapot. It's electronic, but it's one that you can Carry, I think, is the brand, and this one you can. It is recommended. It has settings on it. It's different. It has, I guess, different sensors. An Instapot Pro. Someone is saying that you can in it, and so this one that we have, we received actually one for a wedding present, a regular Instapot. But then this one that we got, it's a bigger one. It's a really big one, and you can can in it also. But in a regular Instapot, you shouldn't can anything. If it was approved for canning, like one that we have, I don't see why you couldn't can meat in it, just like anything else that you would can in it.
So the 11th that you speak of, do you think this is going to be a grid down situation, or do you have any indication of what it might be?
I don't have any more knowledge than anyone else does on it. I don't have any kind of insight, special knowledge. Here's the thing. Just in the last year, and I was actually thinking about this either yesterday, maybe this morning or something, when I was probably having a cup of coffee or something. There have been several things happen over the last year, whether they've been just random conspiracies, oh, this is going to happen, or they have been things that's come from the government that, this is going to happen on this date, and then everyone panics thinking it's going to be worse than that. And ended up, none of those things ever happened. At some point, the odds, just simple mathematical odds tell us that at some point, one of those things are eventually going to happen. And I believe that it's probably a lot of the times when there's this hype about, oh, this is going to happen, and then nothing happens. It's probably to desensitize us to, kind of the boy that cries wolf kind of thing. Is this the one? I don't know. I will say that the rhetoric that's been happening over the past just 2 weeks alone, if you just go back 2 weeks, has increased substantially from the White House and all other areas. We're seeing celebrities, speaking out. We're not that they don't speak out already, but there are more. People are speaking out much more aggressively on the other side for something serious to happen, some kind of crackdown on all of us rebellious people. So is the 11th something that's going to change? I don't know. I really I don't want to say either way. Just be prepared. Be prepared that day. What I have told people in the past on any of these kind of things where you hear something, they're like, oh, there could be a grid down that day, or there's, something else, some other, possibility. If it was me and I thought that, and which I do, there's a chance that something could happen, probably going to stay close to home that day. Probably gonna, try not to do things that if something happened and I got caught away from the home or something, as much as possible, that it would be bad. So I guess that would be my advice is just get yourselves prepared as much as possible. Try to, if you can, some of you can't, but if you can, stay close to home, because we don't really know what's going to happen. Very possibly just nothing.
Amber, can I
Yes, there was a...
Well, Amber has to put her children to bed.
Okay,
Okay,
so let's go and get Amber's, because she's got to get her kids to bed.
Non-food items to stock up on, do you think?
Non-food items, most important. Medical, you always want to have some medical. As we've seen over the past year and a half, your health is something that they're definitely trying to control. Books are extremely important, because, a way to filter water. Water is important. Water is life. You can go weeks without eating, but you can only go a few days without food. So you need a water source and a way to filter the water, purify the water. NWA preppers write medical is important. Most of you all learned this in school, back in, let's just say, the Middle Ages. People died of simple things, right? They just died of simple things, because they didn't have a way to treat it. And today, if I get a cut, which I do often, have a little farm, I'm always getting injured, little minor stuff. You clean it, if it's bad enough, you put a little something on it, you put a Band-Aid on it, and you move on. Well, what if I run out of those and I can't get to the store to get that? What if I can't get good, clean water? What if heating water becomes more and more difficult? You can see where it's starting to compound to where even in modern times, a simple cut could become very serious and get infected and get sepsis, and you could die from it. So having the things like that are important. Thank you, Gray Man Prepping. Thank you. Yeah, hit the like button, guys and gals. There was another super chat. Are you looking at those? There was another super chat. I'm trying to scroll back and look at it. All right, Smart Life. What's the best gardening advice for a half-acre space with lots of trees and very partial sunlight? Raised beds probably is the best, because raised beds you can usually put more in a per square foot, because you can usually control the nutrition of the soil, so the plant does better, and you can put, squeeze more plants in it. So I would think, and then of course you have control over where you put them. One thing with raised beds that a lot of people don't know is make sure you have it to where it can drain good, and then you also have to understand with raised beds you have to water them more. In the ground itself holds the water. The raised beds, you're gonna have to water more often, but you also need to be able to, it needs to drain. So usually, depending on how deep the raised bed is gonna be, put maybe 2 to 3 inches, 1 to 3 inches of like little pea gravel or some kind of little gravel in the very bottom before you add your soil. to allow for that drainage. But in a situation like that, and I have I once years ago lived in a place where I had the land, but the land was like this, and it was extremely rocky. So I decided to do raised beds, and my goodness, I had vegetables coming out my ears with raised beds, if you do it right and put good soil in. All right.
So you have. Okay, I want you to see what I haven't seen the super chats yet because I'm still way up here.
My wife's trying to keep up.
But I don't want to miss anybody. So I mean, if we can,
It's hard to get to everyone's. And
it is. We try though. You have about 3 or 4 people already, like in the very early stages, talking about the governor in Tennessee.
I do not know.
In the world is going on
I haven't kept up with that. So I am originally from Tennessee. That's where I was born.
We signed something.
But
apparently this.
I do vaguely remember at some point seeing something online. But I'll be honest with you, I haven't stopped to look at it today. I've been kind of busy today, and so I haven't stopped to look at what was going on with Tennessee. You know, Tennessee is kind of fallen in line like Virginia. They were once, and a lot of other states, you know, southern conservative state, but they're getting so many people in 1 or 2 or maybe 3 areas of the state, like what happened in Virginia, that it's flipping this state over to becoming, you know, a left-leaning state, and we're seeing that happen with what's going on with their government. So but I don't know what's going on with the governor of Tennessee. Someone asked, do I have quail? No, we don't, but that is a goal to get quail. I kind of wanted to get it this year, but things were just busy, didn't get to it. So maybe next year we can get to quail. Norma from said hi to you. Tribulation Prepper, which is Dawn.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Does anyone know? Oh dear, we just had a whole influx.
Yes,
hang on just a
it's
second.
picking up speed. See, while you're finding one, I need
Tennessee
advice.
Governor signed executive order without fanfare that involves involuntary quarantines and can't just read in Epic Times. I'm not a fearmonger. I just want to qualify what I am reading. That's what they're talking about.
So apparently the governor of Tennessee has signed some kind of legislation regarding the thingy in your arm. I don't know. I haven't seen it. So Jenny asks, I need advice on chicken care. My chicks are coming next week. Can you tell me what you feed yours? Okay. So for young chicks, freshly hatched, I don't feed them anything medicated. A lot of people do. Most of your baby chick feed is medicated. I would advise against that. That's just my personal opinion. If you can't find non-medicated chick feed, look for wild game chick feed. What you would feed something that's like a game bird feed. And so some of your bigger feed stores will have non-medicated chick feed, but some of the smaller ones won't. So I would start off with that. Make sure you get some, and you can get the little packets. We don't have any right now around here. They're somewhere in the barn, but they're little packets of powder like electrolytes for the chicks. You can start them off on that. Make sure when they're hatched. Yes, and then the molasses, you can put a little bit of molasses in their water. Not a lot, but I don't know, maybe a teaspoon or 2 per quart of water in their water, because molasses has a lot of minerals. Do that. Keep them with fresh water and food. Watch for pasty butt, which basically means when they're young, just a few days old and stuff, their doo-doo gets kind of clogged up around their bottom and they can't poo-poo. And the mamas typically peck that away, so you kind of have to do that. If you've ever had little kittens, it's the same way, where you have to kind of help them go to the bathroom. Well, this is similar to that. Just kind of watch to make sure they don't get clogged up on the rear end. Make sure they've got a good amount of heat, but not too hot. It needs to be balanced really well. And other than that, that's about it. You know, chicks sometimes they just don't make it,
The warmth,
but
yeah, the warmth
usually,
is really a big deal.
yeah, the warmth and it needs to
Keeping
be.
it dry.
You need to have, especially depending on how many you have. I always try to have about half of the box where it's got good heat, and then the other half is a little bit cooler. That way, if they get too hot, they can go to the cool side, and if they start to get too cold, they can move back over, and they will do that on their own. So that way, you don't want the whole area, the broody box that the chicks are in, you don't want it all super hot. You want it, you know, one side a good temperature for them, and the other side just a little bit, you know, cooler than that.
So will you just remind everybody to put their questions in all caps?
If you
Because
can,
there's
put
a
your
lot
questions
that
in
are-
all caps if you really want it answered, because there's so many comments.
So,
Sometimes
a
it's
couple of
hard to get to
questions.
all of them.
Have you ever surveyed? This is really a. Have you ever surveyed your property for wild medicinals or wild edibles?
I do, yes. That's we do plant walks all the time. I see. Yes, Gray Man prepping. We need to do that. He's saying that we can add moderators to the channel. We do need to do that at some point. We're growing to the point now that we're trying to get people to help moderate. And I was going to get to that here in just a minute on something similar. Yes, if you get property, or if you live on property, whatever, you should know what grows around you, and you need to do this throughout the year, because different things grow at different times of the year and they look different. You know, things that are in bloom right now weren't in bloom 2 or 3 months ago. So if I walked around, I may not have noticed them because they weren't in bloom. And get to know the plants in your area, on your property, if they're edible, if they're medicinal, and then also get to know them in the different stages, and how to use them. You know, some things you use the flower for one thing, you use a leaf for another thing, and the root for another thing, and then you may harvest the root in the fall and the flower in the spring. It's all different kinds of stuff like that. So certainly, find out what you have on your property that's medicinal and edible, and you would be surprised. You know, even if you live in the suburbs, you know, unless you have a yard that you use a lot of weed killer and stuff, just your typical, especially older suburban areas, they have all kinds of good stuff usually growing in their yards, and as long as it doesn't have a bunch of chemicals sprayed on it, hey, it's edible and it's medicinal.
So 2 more questions, and I'll give them to you so I can kind of look through some of these
All right.
comments. But where can I get a reliable water filter? And what kind of animals do you have on your farm? Cattle, sheep, goats, whatever.
All right, water filters. I'm going to try not to do a shameless plug because I am an affiliate on some water filters. If you have a family, even if it's just one person,
because we love them.
but we're an affiliate because
have
we love
both.
it. We have 2 different gravity-fed water filters. If you're not familiar with those, they're, you know, the big stainless steel on top of a stainless steel tube-looking thing. You fill it with water and it drips through. We have both a Berkey brand and we have an Alexa Pure brand. They're both the same size. I'll be honest with you, I cannot tell the difference between the 2 in functionality. They both function exactly the same. If you look at the details of what they will filter, the Berkey filters like 2 or 3 percentage points more of lead out of water than the Alexa Pure, but virtually everything else is the same. So if you don't live in an area that has lead, then you know you may not want to spend a little bit more on the Berkey. The Berkeys are a little bit more expensive. The big savings is the Berkeys. You have to buy additional filters for like fluoride, whereas the Alexa Pure, the one filters that they make, they filter all of that. But those are I think the kind of the top end. Now you can get whole house filtration. That's a little bit more expensive if you want to go that route. It's also good to have smaller filters, you know, something that you can put in a backpack or put in your pocket, a little pouch, you know, like a Sawyer Mini, I think is a really good brand for like a little small, like something, you know, you can even use them like a straw and drink through a creek or a mud puddle.
And Berkey has the little ones to go.
And Berkey does make the small ones too, and they make them for, you know, like a pitcher and all that kind of stuff. But the Berkeys or the Alexa Pures, which are the bigger stainless steel ones, that's really the way to go with water filtration, especially for a house. You know, depending on which model you get and all the options, you know, you're looking at probably between $250 on the very low end, and it can go up at as high as $600 to $800 on the higher end. But they're worth it. They're very worth it. Okay, and then animals.
Not in the same guy asked about dogs too.
Okay.
Kind of dogs.
All right, so animals, we have sheep. We have Shetland sheep, which are a small breed of they're just a small breed. They're a primitive breed. They're actually the sheep that they believe that the Vikings were raising. And they're naturally small, extremely hardy. They're great for wool, they're great for meat, and you can milk them. We don't milk our sheep. I'm not opposed to it. We just don't have any that I've worked with enough to milk. Maybe someday. And so that's one of our big sources of food. We have a lot of chickens, different varieties. We have turkeys. All of our birds are a heritage breed. We have 2 different kinds of ducks, and yeah, that's all the birds that we have. And then the sheep. Oh, we have goats. We have a couple of goats, and then we have dogs. We have Great Pyrenees dogs, and they take care of everything. We have not. I don't think we've lost a single chicken since we've lived at this property. We have a good solid chicken coop. Not to predators, anyways. We've had a couple that's died for other reasons, but our chicken coop is good and solid. I spent the extra time and money when I built the chicken coop. I wanted to make sure it was solid, and so it's got a steel front door on it, just like a house door, and it's every bit as solid as a house. And so because of that, and they free range during the day, they sleep in the coop at night. Between that and the Pyrenees, nothing bothers our birds. They're very good at protecting and keeping things off the property. And then of course we have an inside dog. He's somewhere in here sleeping. He's not an inside dog. He's in here right now sleeping, and he's our oldest child's dog, and they live in an apartment where they can't have dogs, so he lives with us, and he's a good dog, but he's just a lazy old mutt. So there's the run. Oh, and a couple of cats. There's the rundown on our animals.
A lot of people use rabbits for meat,
yep.
And I get that, but
rabbits,
and like for your animals and stuff. But this person said, how do you feel about meat rabbits as a food source? And I know that you've talked about this. We wouldn't eat it, but
yeah, rabbits are good. You have to watch because they're very lean, so you can't get the fats that your body needs. Certain other meat sources, if that's all you ate was that meat, you'd be fine. Rabbit isn't one of them. If that's all you ate, you would actually get sick. No, we don't have cattle yet. Someone just asked, like cows have in the past, but not right now in this moment. But we actually were planning on buying a milk cow from someone. We had the money, worked out the deal, and then the cow ended up not living before we got to it. Before we bought it, it died. Anyways, but yeah, rabbits are actually, if you eat rabbit is you can raise a lot of rabbits in 1 year's time. Quail too, you can raise a lot of quail in just a year's time. They produce quite a bit, usually from hatching to butchering is 6-8 weeks. And you can just keep that cycle going pretty good, especially if you have an incubator, which is something that you should, even if you're not actively using it, it doesn't hurt to have it. Microgreens indoors, Gray Man Prepping says that absolutely. There's also aquaponics, which is where you can, you raise fish, and the water from the fish waters and fertilizes the plants, and so that you have fish there.
What do you do to dye your beard?
What do I do to dye my beard? I do nothing to my beard. I don't do anything.
And it's real. Pull it for
It's
everybody.
totally real. Everyone, people are always asking. It's a completely real beard. It's not a disguise. I put nothing on it. The only thing I use is I use the same shampoo that I put on my hair. I put it on my beard. And yeah, probably about once a week, I may put a little conditioner in it because it sometimes does get dry. I don't use oils. I don't use any of that stuff. I have it mostly because of the wife. If we, go out or something, she likes the smell of this one particular oil, beard oil, so I'll put it on. But other than that, I don't do anything to my beard other than brush it.
Okay. So this week, Charlie.
Well, I'm not too young, Rabid Coyote. I'm 43, and there's a lot of gray in it.
There is some gray.
There's quite a bit of gray in it, so.
But it does look black as night from, the video. Looking at it here.
Someone asked, M. Houston, what are you harvesting and processing in the Ozarks right now? Here on the property, we're harvesting and processing squash, beans, and tomatoes is the main thing. Blackberries are in, which reminds me, I read a thing one of the you listeners sent to me from Azure Standards, and he was saying that due to all the droughts and the heat and stuff, that about 90%, and this was from the CEO from Azure Standard, most of you probably know who that is, was saying that about 90% of the raspberry and blackberry crop here in the United States has been greatly affected because of the extreme heat and dryness up in the northwestern part of the United States. So the prices, they're saying, are just going to skyrocket. So for us Ozark people, where we have blackberries growing everywhere, you should probably harvest as much as you can and put them up. You can freeze them very easily. Blackberries, raspberries are in right now here in the Ozarks. All right.
So do you use ham radio on the Homestead? And sorry, I lost the question. You can take Deer Corn and Crush It.
Ham radio on the Homestead.
This lady, or Charlie, I don't know, I think it's probably a man, but I have over 20 ducks and more coming. What food should I grow for them? And I was thinking worms, like
food.
Worms, maybe?
I want to say Commander, I can't remember, someone in the super chat, Commander something, thank you for that very much. That was very generous.
CMDR, right?
Yes. Okay. So what was the question? I'm sorry, I was reading that. So what was the question again?
20 ducks.
I listen really well, don't I?
And more coming. What food should I grow for them?
So for ducks or any chicks, yeah, worms, mealworms, you can grow.
So easy to grow.
You can grow mealworms extremely easy. And then just a lot of greens. Wheat is something that you can grow. Most of your grasses, you can grow that stuff really easy. You can also let wheat produce all the way. You could actually grow winter wheat most of your areas right now. We're going to put some winter wheat in the ground, and you could put that aside for chickens and ducks, things like that. And then what you should try to do, if at all possible, when it's during the time of the year that things are growing, is try to let them free range as much as possible. So that you can cut back. Like right now, all of our birds, they free range, and during this time of the year where there's lots of bugs and there's lots of things growing, we cut back on the amount of grain that we feed them because, well, they're getting most of their food from nature. Thank you, NWA Prepper, very much.
This person has asked this question twice, Jim. Prepared Homestead, do you know how to stop a disease that turns green bean leaves white? Have you heard of that?
I have, and you've stumped me on that one for right now. I'm sure I've probably read it in the past. If you email me, I will. I've got some books and stuff, I'm sure, but off the top of my head, I cannot think of what that would be. Maybe someone in the comments. He's got a problem with his green beans just turning white, and it could be a soil problem. It sounds most likely to me.
What part of Tennessee are you from?
I'm
Do
from
you
the
have ponds
eastern
with fish?
eastern part of the eastern part of Tennessee, towards the Smoky Mountains. We don't have a pond on our property, but we do have a year-round creek on the property. And then we have a wet weather creek, and then we have a spring, all three on the property, but we don't have a pond. The creek, if you've watched any of my videos for a while, you can see it in a lot of them in the background. And there's fish in that creek all year long, and it's good. The mouth of the creek, which the spring that feeds that, which is very close to the house, and I never mention it because you can locate it on the map. It's fairly historical spring that's just kind of out here in the middle of nowhere. So I don't talk about that, because then someone could look it up and find out where we live, and they may be kind of crazy. You know, those kind of people do exist online.
So a couple people think that the white thing is powdery mildew.
It could be a powdery mildew.
And then somebody
For the
wants to know
beans.
why the Ozarks and not Tennessee.
Well, look at what the Tennessee governor has done. That's probably a good one. Good example of why. Tennessee is beautiful. The Smoky Mountains are unbelievably beautiful. In fact, if I was a rating system, I would probably rate them more beautiful than the Ozarks. The Ozarks is beautiful. I can take you to places here in the Ozarks that just your jaw will just drop. They're so gorgeous. Smoky Mountains is amazing, but Tennessee's more expensive. The laws in Tennessee aren't nearly as good. That's why I'm not in that's why we don't live in Arkansas. It's the same reason. The Arkansas Ozarks are beautiful, but the laws aren't nearly as favorable to freedom and living free as they are here in Missouri, and certainly not in Tennessee either. Things like homeschooling laws, gun laws, property laws, meaning that, you know, where there's no restrictions or regulations on what you do on your property. Missouri is vastly more free than those places, and the cost of living is very cheap here. Yeah, taxes. We do have a state tax, but our property taxes are just it's crazy cheap on the property taxes as compared to other places. So that's why the Ozarks.
So Barbara says, she's also a super chat, what do you think about ham radio and the Homestead for
Ham
prepper
radio, that's right.
Prepper communion.
Yes. Well, I'm a ham radio guy. And in fact, one of our I think he's in the chat. I thought I saw his name a little bit ago. James, if you're listening, I talked to you on the phone this morning.
Yeah, he's here.
And we were actually talking about that, of setting up a repeater for our group, maybe even more than one repeater. He believes that I think he lives probably 30-40 miles from us, and we were not sure exactly, but I think we can set up a repeater just between the two of us on our properties, and of course it would benefit people in our area. So yes, ham radio yes, there he is, James. I knew I saw your name in there, brother. Yeah, 42 miles. I knew it was somewhere around that. So ham radio is certainly important. Buy them. I've been telling people you need to get one. With this whole microchip thing shortage, I think it's going to start affecting those too. I know that there was a couple that I'd looked at like a year or so ago, and they had them, that now I've looked in the last few months and they were out of stock. So I'm going to assume that's probably what it is, and maybe people buying them. Ham radio is great. You should have your license. You should get the radios. You can buy good quality radios here cheap. CB is the other one. I have a bottle of water here. CB, I know that's old school, and there's probably people rolling their eyes. You may not even know what CB is if you're too young, but CB still can get out there for a local community. You can still use those, and those are cheap, and you don't have to have a license. Something I talked about in a video in the past, and James, my ham radio buddy on here, will certainly back me up because we talked about it today. Antenna is where it's at. I mean, yeah, you need to have a decent radio, but you need to have a good antenna. So let's check the super chats. I thought I was caught up. Okay, here we go. Oh yes, that's that was Barbara's question
Yeah,
on the
I thought
ham
it.
radio, and then NWA Prepper. Thanks for answering questions, buddy. We need to get together sometime soon. We've been talking about that for a while, and it's
We've talked
you and
about it.
you and I.
Talked about
Yes,
it.
NWA Prepper and I are well overdue for hanging out together. So Smart Life asks, can quail coexist with chickens, or do you need to keep them separated? I would advise keeping them separated. Um, I don't know if there's any specific diseases that can transfer, but that does happen a lot with birds. Even with like chickens and turkeys. Now ours reside together, but you have to be careful with different turkeys or different birds, different species of birds. So I would keep them separated. And then someone asked, like the family radios, GMRS radios, those can work also. The little Baofeng radios that you can still pick up for like 25 bucks, I think, on Amazon. You know, you can buy them in packages of 10 for cheaper. So maybe someone in your prepping group or your neighbors, your family. What is CB radio? Really? You need to go look up a movie called Smokey and the Bandit, and you'll figure out what CB radio is.
Somebody says if you set up a repeater, will you let them know?
Yes, if we set up a local repeater, it will be, our local group will know. I'm drinking this is one of my weaknesses. You guys want to know a personal thing about me? It's hard to find around here in the Ozarks. My wife is a native Texan, and down there, it's like they grow it on trees. It's just sparkling water, but it's super bubbly, and I love it.
We have it everywhere.
And yes, I love it. So this is my little weakness. But yeah, CB radio.
How big is your garden?
How big is the garden? I think it's roughly 140 foot long by about 45, 50 foot wide. Is the main garden. So.
Do you raise any of your own pet and livestock feed?
No.
Not right now.
No, not right now. Excuse me. Let's see. Travis, did I vote for Biden?
We're set up so that if something happens, we can.
I do have, yes, I have lots and lots of seeds to grow for that. And, you know, a lot of things with being self-sufficient and homesteading, I tell people you don't have to be doing it all right now, but you do need to have the things that you need to do it all. So I don't have a tractor. We have another small pasture over on the far end of the far back corner of the property, and I don't have any animals on it. It's good grass there, and it's a little hard to get to. That's the problem. But basically, the only way I get to it without building a better road is to go onto my neighbor's field, which I totally have permission. In fact, we even have a gate between our property there that I can go from his side into mine. But anyways, I haven't baled it because I don't have a baler. But I have tools that I can do it by hand. I know that sounds crazy. And there are people around here that I could use their equipment to bale it. So we do have contingency plans for our animals. Yes, we need to get a tractor. We've been wanting to get one, and hopefully we will get one at some point.
We were just talking about
the problem is, hold on, the problem is with baling. A lot of these little tractors that you see, they are nowhere near can handle baling. You know, not just the cutting of it, but actually running even a small square baler. You really need about a 45 horse tractor, usually 45 horse tractor to run a small baler. And tractors are expensive right now. I couldn't believe the other day, well, not too long ago, I saw an old 8N Ford tractor, you know, something that you used to be able to pick up for you know, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, and this thing was not restored or anything, and this guy had like $3,500 on it. I thought, what in the world, this old rusted 8N tractor? Yes, someone says 35 horse to bale, so I knew I was close. And balers take a crazy amount of maintenance. I remember growing up using hay balers. I think we spent about as much time working on them as we did running them. Yes.
So you and I were
Thank you, Gina.
Talking the other evening about why we feed our chickens even though they're free range. Somebody said, can chickens be free range permanently without grains? If area had variety of greens, grasses, etc.
Sure.
But I just thought it'd be good to explain why we give them just a little at least.
Yes. Number one, you want to make sure you look. I need a ranch hand. No kidding. Yeah, someone says I need a ranch hand. Anyways, so someone asked if you could you free range your chickens or your birds during the growing seasons of the year to where you really didn't have to feed them. Certainly, you could do that if you live in an area and you've got enough space for them to get bugs, to eat grass, to eat grain and stuff. You can do that. Number one, you want to make sure that you have the right kind of breed. If you look into your heritage breed, say for instance, a company like Cackle Hatchery, they're a big heritage breed hatchery, or I can't remember it now. It's a association like a heritage breed animal association, livestock heritage association. Anyways, they will tell you which breeds do better with free ranging. So if you get a breed of chickens that's very good at free ranging, they're good at taking care of themselves. McMurray's another one. And then you have enough space to let them free range during the spring and the summer, yeah, they should do fine. Now, you're not going to get, when you read on those and it says, you know, oh, they'll produce 320 eggs a year or something like that. If they're free ranging, they're not going to produce 320 eggs a year because they're not getting that high amounts of minerals in the feed that you're feeding them. When you're feeding them like egg layer feed, it gives them lots and lots of calcium and minerals, so they're producing the optimal level of eggs. But you know, you can certainly do that and then just have a little grain scratch, you know, collect some corn that you have, and maybe, you know, molasses sorghum is another. Around here in the Ozarks, sorghum grows like crazy. There's all kinds of natural plants that grow here locally. Things like plantain and stuff like that, the seeds, you can harvest the seeds and you can use that for chickens. I'm trying to think of another one that grows really well here. There's several. We have them all over the property that are, you know, they'll grow real tall and they'll build a big seed head on them. That kind of stuff, you can use that, you know, with your chickens. Someone asked, what age do you start clipping the wings? We don't clip the wings of our chickens because I want them to be able to get away. I understand in certain situations you want that. We don't have any neighbors near us. Our property is completely surrounded in woods. There, you know, I don't worry about my chickens running off or flying away or anything like that. There's lots and lots of barrier between us and anyone else. So I don't worry about that. And, you know, if I clip their wings and they're running free range, then they may not be able to get up in a tree if there's a predator. Now, if I'm keeping them in an enclosed space and I don't want them to fly out of a chicken coop or fly out of a chicken run, that might be different. But with free ranging them, I don't ever clip their wings, and they, you know, they'll get up. There's cedar trees and other trees around that they'll fly up in and stuff. Mullein is something. I think somebody that some of the seeds you could probably, yeah, mullein.
Mullein grows on the side of the
mullein grows everywhere in the Ozarks. It's all over the place. Cowboy toilet paper. Ed Healy, I think, is in the room. All right.
These two kind of go together.
Another question.
Do you plan to incorporate solar as an alternate energy source? One.
Yes.
And the second one is, how about thoughts on a generator? I finished wiring in a generator transfer switch.
Sit up a little bit. I feel like I'm sinking down, and this couch is really cushy, and sometimes I get too sinking down it. We do have some We do have some solar, nothing's hooked up, but we have some solar panels, and our plan is to continually add to that. I'll be honest with you, it's not been, even though it should be, we've been doing other things this year, so it's not been the highest priority so far, but it is something. We do have a generator. You know, generators are just short term. Unless you get something that's like, say, a low RPM diesel generator that could last a long time, that just sips diesel, that kind of stuff. Most of your generators, you know, they're not designed to last, run for weeks and weeks and weeks, or months, or even years. You know, it's just a quick fix. But with solar panels, the prices of solar panels have come down. Careful on that couch. Yes, Ed. One thing that you can do, this doesn't apply to every area, but because solar panels are being used a lot more in commercial industries, and municipal governments and stuff, you know, utility companies, and usually they rotate those solar panels out. So usually a solar panel has a life expectancy on it. It may be 20 years, it may be 30 years. And these big companies, they don't use them for that length of time. They may only use them for half that time, or sometimes only a third of that. And they rotate them out and they sell them. And a lot of times on like Facebook Marketplace, there's these guys that go around and they may buy, you know, a whole semi-truckload of these solar panels, and they'll sell them for maybe $100 or sometimes even less a piece. They test them. They'll say that they're, 85% or 75%, efficient, that kind of thing. Looks like NW Prepper's getting off. That's my buddy, so I want to say good night to you. But with the solar panels, if you see these guys sometimes, I'm not saying they're all above par. Maybe there's some are kind of scammy, but usually there's a guy that makes rounds here in the Ozarks, and he sells them off of a back of a gooseneck flatbed, and you can buy them pretty cheap. And so that's one way to get your solar panels. And then of course you have to buy all the other equipment. It's much cheaper to get into solar than it used to be. Let's see, some comments. Some people are getting off, going to bed.
Angela's asking if one of her questions, I don't know.
Someone says grow hemlock for the special dinner guests. Yes. I won't tell you that I might have some growing just down the road from here.
Oh, it grows everywhere.
It grows everywhere around here. We have a creek, water hemlocks all over the place. Oops. Hit the wrong button. Almost canceled the
silly
thing.
Question.
Yes.
But after your solar panels charge, about how long do they last? I think that's
all right.
What is it? It's
solar panels don't charge.
It's relative.
Yeah, it's batteries. So with a solar system, and now folks, I'm not an expert on solar. I have helped install them for a couple of people and done things myself, but I am not. Water hemlock is just a different variety of hemlock. There's poison hemlock and then there's water hemlock. They're very similar. One's more bushy. Anyways, both deadly. Solar, you have the solar panel that captures the energy of the sun, and then from that you should have that energy go into batteries. And it depends on what kind of batteries, how many you want. A good way, and you can buy like these special lithium batteries and stuff that are specifically for living off grid. Tesla company makes them, Elon Musk. Or you can just use golf cart batteries, 6-volt golf cart batteries. You can wire them together for like a 48-volt system. I know that some of you may not understand what that means, but you can certainly learn what I mean. There's videos on YouTube of how to do this. And so the solar panels charge the batteries, and then you have a power inverter so that you can run your house off the batteries. So you're not really running your house off of the solar panels. You're running your house off the batteries, and then you're using the solar panels to charge the batteries. And you'd be surprised if you get enough batteries. A small house, you could run for a while off of probably 8 golf cart batteries, at least a day or so. Sometimes, 3 to 4 days, depending on how many batteries and what all you're running. Another Tim Jones, another neighbor from Lake of the Ozarks. You live north of us. Hope you can make it to the meeting here in a couple of weeks. Trolling motor batteries can work.
Is it pointless at this point?
Gray Man prepping. Did he have a... Did I miss a question from you, buddy? Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I haven't. I'm not all the way down.
I know. She's still trying to fiddle. She's going through. She's coming down from the top on the comments, and I'm scrolling up from the bottom.
Is it pointless at this point trying to get a family member to prep after trying for 2 years?
If they're willing to do it, no. You know, there's a lot of preppers that say, hey, if you're not prepping by this point, then, you know, you're dead. You're not going to last. I don't believe that, because we never know. I know us preppers, we tend to look at the worst case scenarios, but we honestly don't know how bad things it'll be. Thank you, Gray Man. For some reason, I thought I saw a question from you, and then I was scrolling back and I couldn't find it.
He
so
said something like hi. He said hi to.
Oh, maybe Mrs.
Whatever,
Yes.
Mrs.
Okay.
Homestead.
So we don't know how bad things will get. I mean, they could definitely get really bad, and I think they probably will, but we don't know. So any amount of prepping, even if you just started today, if you just woke up today and realized, oh my goodness, I need to prepare, and you started working towards it, I believe there's still time. Are you going to be as prepared as someone that's been doing it for years? No, you're not. But are you going to be more prepared than probably 80% of the population, maybe 90% of the population? Yeah, you're going to be if you started today. So it's never too late. For those family members that you're working on, keep working on them. And they're probably still learning things. You know, I'm going to talk about my sister for a moment. Nothing bad. My sister's not a prepper. Her and her husband aren't preppers. And I talk to them all the time. They're not, you know, we have a good relationship. So it's not like they, you know, they don't want to have anything to do with this. We love them. They love us. You know, we have a good relationship. My wife and I and my sister and brother-in-law, we have a good relationship. But they're not preppers. But she's, you know, thinks about these things, and she's occasionally does stock up on some things, and she asks me questions, and you know, if things start to get bad, you know, occasionally she's asked, you know, well, is there things that you think I should stock up on? So the point is you keep working on them, and even if you think they're not listening, they're still listening. And even if let's say it's a spouse, and you're preparing and your spouse isn't, as long as they're at least open and to letting you talk about it without creating a big fight, you know, if things got bad, really bad, like hit the wall bad, you'd probably be surprised how quickly they would remember all the things you talked about. So yeah, don't just give up. Don't give up on people, and don't think that, you know, man, I just woke up today and realized, you know, I am unprepared. What can I do? You can still become prepared. You can still learn things. Get books on how to do things. Don't be dependent upon Googling it to find out how to do something. You need to take control of that knowledge in your own hands. And that's another thing, without going into big, long conspiracies that are probably very conspiracy fact. They control the information. And if things got bad, they could shut down the internet, the grid, things like that, and we wouldn't have that information anymore. Because we're so used to doing this, right? So get some books and learn how to do things, and continue to stock up. That's even if you're just starting today. Hello, Mike, 4843. Never too late to start. That's right. Thank you, Mayhem Country Living. Love what you're doing in Missouri. I have said for years, Missouri is an amazing prepping state, because most of the people that live out in this countryside, whether they would ever call themselves preppers or not, they're preppers already. I don't know how many people I've talked to over the years, and they're like, well, I do that already. And the reason is because Missouri still has some pretty remote areas. We have roads that wash out in the rain, areas that when in the wintertime, even a little bit of ice storm, you can't get in and out of. So people know they have to stock up on things. And they also know that they have to depend on their neighbor because the weather might get bad, knock out the electricity, because we're out in very rural areas. And so it's just normal. And then on top of that, Missouri seems to be very favorable legally to it. You know, they're okay with you living off grid and collecting rainwater. They're okay with you building pretty much whatever house you want to live in. There's no building codes out in these rural counties. So yeah, Missouri is a real hotbed for preparedness and homesteading and living off the grid and self-sufficient living. You see people all over out in the countryside living like that. Got a question?
Well,
I can tell by the look on her face.
Coming.
It's either a question from you guys or I'm in trouble.
You're making me laugh.
She's embarrassed now.
I know, and they can't even see me. So these two kind of go hand in hand.
Uh-huh.
One person asked if you keep a Faraday cage, and like for your solar stuff, and then another person said, how do we protect our trucks and solar if we have an EMP? So I thought you'd like to talk about that because that was part of what we were...
Right.
So
Let's start off with vehicles. Pretty much anything, from my understanding, and there will probably be some people that will disagree, and that's okay, because I could be wrong. Anything that's made that's older than 1979, 1980 on a vehicle, you pretty much don't have to worry about an EMP. You get into the 80s and even into the early 90s, it's kind of iffy. You know, it just depends. Vehicles, James, we talked about this today on the phone. James, yes, bicycles are vehicles too. You should have a bicycle. They're not expensive. You can get a decent bicycle for really not a lot of money. So bicycles. As far as other things, I have a little metal boxes that I have for Faraday cages. You can bury things. Typically 18 inches is probably going to be enough, depending on what it is. Here's the thing with EMPs. There's a lot that we don't know about EMPs because most of the scientific data, real hard data on EMPs have come from the government. So there's just not a lot that we know of exactly what an EMP will do. And then there's these big super EMPs, which is just a bigger bomb that's just detonated in a bigger, a higher altitude. And that China's been talking about for a few years that they have one. And yes, it's a good idea to proactively try to prepare for an EMP with Faraday cages and different shield things and grounding things in certain ways. That's a good idea. And I am very much for that. But on the other hand, I believe that people should also have backups if it doesn't work. If the EMP is bigger, if the Faraday cage doesn't work, or I've heard people they put cell phones in Faraday cages. Why? The cell phone works, but the whole cellular network is now fried. So you have to also think of that kind of stuff. Maybe the electronic device that you have it works, but if you don't have a way to run it or charge it, it may not be any good either. So I always encourage to have primitive ways to do things as backups. If one of your plans is to grind a bunch of wheat into bread that you have stocked up on, and you have a wheat, a flour mill, if it doesn't work because the grid is down, or even if the motor breaks down, you should have a hand crank one to back up for it. Things like that. All right.
Do we have fruit?
I'm gonna get
nut
off
trees?
here soon. We've been on here over an hour, and I'm starting to get tired.
Do we have fruit or nut trees?
We have both fruit and nut trees. We have plum trees, and they basically was a no-go this year. We had a weird late snow and freeze in the spring, and the plum trees were beautiful. It was the first week of May. It was first week of May. In fact, I think it was a record cold that late in the year here. Anyways, our plum trees had beautiful blooms on them. Last year they did great, had just crazy amounts of plums on them, and it just killed every one of them. The trees, of course, are still alive, but we didn't get any plums. We have apple trees. They're not quite old enough yet to really be producing. Hopefully, maybe next year we can start getting some apples. And then, of course, we have hickory and walnut trees on the property.
Tons of
Lots of walnut trees. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Oh, mulberry. Yeah, we do have a mulberry tree too. I forgot. And mulberries offer a lot of good fruit. I love
elderberry, but those are trees.
Yeah, that's
They're
not. It's
like
kind of
a
a.
bush.
I mean, it's technically elder tree, but I love mulberries because they're like blackberries without all the seeds. Guerrilla gardening in the Ozarks. Yes, the Ozarks is a very lush place. I mean, it may not be as lush as the Appalachian Mountains when it comes to you know, wild things growing, but there's still a lot. You get out here in the countryside, out in these hills and hollers, and where not a whole lot of people live, and there's a ton of edible and medicinal plants growing. So Democrats. Oh yes. So Happy Canner is saying that Pinball said that Democrats are expanding Capitol Police. I cannot confirm this just yet, but I did hear it was a. Trying to remember what news source, conservative news source, but it was pretty reputable, so I think it would be most likely true, that the Capitol Police, we're shifting radically different gears here, that they now have like offices or departments, police substation departments in other cities. I think Florida, I can't remember where they're at. The U.S. Capitol Police. The U.S. Capitol Police that is specifically there to be the police department at the U.S. Capitol, they're now setting up these like satellite agent, departments in other states, which is really strange. And as you probably know, they're like under the command of Nancy Pelosi, which is a little scary. A lot of people are wondering, are these the kind of the brown shirt goon squad thugs or whatever? I don't know. I'm not going to go to that point, but it is a little scary to see that, well, any police force is being commanded basically by Nancy Pelosi. Oh. All right. Let's see.
So a lot of people have mentioned your article and said that they were led here because of the article.
I'll mention
you
it.
got a lot of new viewers.
Yes, I did. There's been a huge,
like to
huge influx of viewers. So thank you. If you've just found me because I'm getting ready to get off here. I've been on for over an hour, and my throat's starting to get sore from talking. If you came to the channel because of the recent articles, thank you for stopping by and checking us out. I did an interview with a reporter with the Epic Times. The guy was super polite, super nice, just an awesome guy. You hear, the reporter, you hear all these stories about, the mainstream media, the fake media. Well, the Epic Times is very conservative. One of the last few, I think, reputable news agencies. Anyways, the guy was just super cool. Had a long conversation with him. It was more of a conversation than an interview. Anyways, I didn't know that the... what is it? The other, Zero Hedge, which is another big news website. They picked up the article, and so between the two posting that article, Epic Times is not really mainstream, and I guess I shouldn't say it. They're big. They're big news. There's a lot of little, YouTube channels and little websites. These guys, they have reporters all over the world. Print. They're in.
Times is not really MSN.
Yeah, they're not mainstream news, but they are big. They're big. They're one of the fastest growing news agencies in the world. So yes, they're not like CNN mainstream, but they're big. They're big. And so I was very, very honored for that. The guy that interviewed me, the reporter, when he called me, he's like, I've been a subscriber to your channel for like 6 months. He says, I've been watching it just for my own personal, you know, wanting to become more prepared. And then we talked about, you know, doing this article on preppers, and then you were the first one that came to mind. So I was very honored by that article. And so thank you for stopping by and joining us here at the Prepared Homesteaders community. Hope you like what you see. I try to be as laid back as possible, straight shooter, and I have the best, no knock to any of the other YouTubers that are watching right now, but I have the best subscribers, best audience.
Wife. He has the best wife.
Oh yes, and the best wife on YouTube. But you, the best listeners,
so
the best viewers on YouTube.
Saying, so what? You've been on for an hour. Take a shot of your Texas water.
Oh yes, my Texas water.
They want you to stay. That's
it's
what you
not
were just
Texas,
saying,
but you can't hardly find it around here, and I love this stuff. It's so super bubbly. I'm actually trying not to drink it too much because it kind of gives me a little bit of burps. Do what, babe?
I was just saying that they want you to stay, and you were just talking
about
how you have such great
okay,
viewers.
I'll stay a little while longer. Yes, it's a Mexican sparkling water, but it's super bubbly, and I like it. And you can't hardly find it at any of the stores around here, so when I do occasionally come by it, I like to buy it. It's just sparkling water.
Except in Texas, we could find
and
it
in
anywhere.
Texas, my wife's from Texas, and it's everywhere in Texas.
But
I mean, it's like it grows on trees,
like
Topo Chico.
Somebody asked if we homeschool.
Yes, we do homeschool, and I would highly recommend homeschooling. No, we're not part of Shofar Mountain. Sister Kate from Shofar Mountain, she chimes in a lot on my channel, comments on the videos. Her and I have emailed back and forth a couple of times. Joe Fox, I think I've only emailed once or twice. We've only had a couple of back and forths between the two of us, but I've never met him. Public schools are worthless. Yeah, pretty much.
And it's not the teachers.
No,
not entirely.
There's certainly some crazy communist teachers out there, but there's still a lot of teachers that are genuinely, they really want to take care of these kids, and they really want to teach them, and it's really bigger than the teachers. Someone asked what zip code the meeting place is. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the zip code is. But there.
We don't advertise
It's the only thing I tell for the actual location of it. It's in Texas County, Missouri. But Texas County is the biggest county in Missouri. But at least it gives you an idea. And if you want to know about the meeting so that you can personally attend, shoot me an email at Prepared Homesteader, all one word. No, Prepared Homestead. Prepared Homestead at protonmail.com, and we'll get you that. But I'm not going to put it out publicly because some crazy person might show up.
Somebody
you never know.
Do you cite?
We have it. Play around with it. Know how to use one. I don't use it on a regular basis though. So it's my wife does not have a channel, but you know what? We were talking about that today. She's a little camera shy, but I think eventually she's only been on camera with me once. I thought it was twice, but maybe only once.
Maybe twice.
Once or twice. Anyways, I'm working on that. She is extremely knowledgeable in a lot of things when it comes to like natural health, how to eat healthy for different things like that. She's really an expert in it, and she's been, she's a homeschooling mom. She really knows how to do that for a long time, for years. Someone asked about P.O. Box. I do not have that,
just talked about that
but
too.
That's another thing. Man, do we have a bunch of psychics in the room? Gray Man Prepping said a P.O. Box, and we actually were saying this week we're going to, one of these days this week, we're going to go set up a P.O. Box for the website or for this YouTube channel. So that'll be happening soon too. But yeah, my wife, she really knows her stuff on a lot of things. So,
but I like to cook, and I want to share that stuff. And when we do our candy,
right? And my wife is a stay-at-home mom. So the question there, how do you homeschool if you have to work? It is possible. There are people that moms that work and they homeschool. They have to work it out, though. I mean, you can't just leave them home all day by
We have a
themselves.
friend that has 7 children and homeschools and runs her own business.
That's right. So it is possible to work or to have your own business. Like my wife said, we have a friend. I don't know if you heard that. We have a friend. They have 7 kids, and the husband works, and then the wife runs her own business, and their household, and teaches their 7 kids. Someone said my walls look like his ceiling. Yes, I still haven't put wall coverings up. The house is insulated fine, okay? I've been busy with more important things, and I keep telling my wife, yes, babe, I know you want things on the wall, but we need all these other things that are much more important than just having something on the wall.
But I think that you should mention, like, her son graduated at 16 and he's already in college.
Thank you. Jimmy James said he appreciates. Thank you. Yes, this friend of ours that my wife was speaking of, that she has 7 kids and has a business and homeschools. Their son graduated high school at 16, is already starting to take started into college. They're all our kids are geniuses too.
Yeah, and so sweet.
And I was homeschooled.
Yeah, you were.
I was a homeschooled kid. My mother started
My best
homeschooling
friend's
me when I
husband
was in
too,
3rd
and
grade.
He's my age.
Yep. So I was homeschooled, and I turned out sort of okay.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Somebody wants to know what the danger of Missouri turning blue is.
I mean, any state could turn blue, right? Any state.
I'm worried about Texas, though, first.
I can promise you Texas will turn blue a lot sooner than Missouri will. Just look at the voting numbers, percentages here in Missouri as compared to Texas. We are strongly red states. Same way with Oklahoma. So, I mean, it's always possible. I think it's very unlikely. Missouri only has 2 major population centers that lean to the left, and that's Kansas City and St. Louis. St. Louis is extremely liberal. Kansas City is, it's a little liberal. But it's only just barely. It's not like Chicago liberal, right? Whereas Texas has like what, 6 or 7 major population areas now, at least 5 or 6 major population
Corpus,
that are
Houston, Dallas,
starting
Austin,
to move, strongly left.
Denver.
So Missouri does have that advantage that we don't have a lot of big population areas. Springfield, Missouri is moving to the left, but you're only talking like 180, maybe 200,000 people. Uh-oh, wife's getting on to the kids.
Okay.
I will say the kids have been sitting here
The
watching
whole
this
time,
entire
and they're
time,
so
and they're being really
well
quiet,
behaved.
but
I just had
they're
to tell them
kids,
to back up. I wasn't getting on
they're
to
getting a
them.
little
I was
little
just
restless.
telling them
All right.
to- Y'all want to say hi?
An
Say
earthquake
hi.
plan. All right, so I'm gonna.
Hi.
Oh, the kids are saying hi.
Say hi.
Someone asked about an earthquake plan. All right, so here's the deal on earthquakes.
I like it when you talk about this.
Missouri obviously has the New Madrid Fault, and everyone knows about the New Madrid Fault, of how it caused the Mississippi River to run backwards, and they heard it caused church bells to ring like on the other side of the country or the other side of the planet or something like that. Major deal. That's true. And if the New Madrid Fault goes again, it's going to be catastrophic. Every bit to the level of probably like the San Andreas Fault if it had decided to go. But the cool thing is even though we're in the Ozarks and we're somewhat close to that, the Ozarks, the Ozark Plateau is basically a big, massive, huge chunk of rock that sticks up out of the plains, out of the Midwest part of the United States. And the information that we got from the last time that it went back in the, like 150, 200 years ago, I can't remember my dates right now, all the energy moved east. Very little of it came west, which would be towards the Ozarks, because the New Madrid Fault is east of the Ozarks. There was a Missouri, their state emergency management. I have the PDF file, I think, somewhere. It's a big file, so I'm not just going to if someone wants it, I would email it to them. And they did a study on that and if you look at it, because of the big chunk of rock that the Ozarks sets on, it kind of acts as a buffer. And while if the New Madrid Fault went today, we would certainly feel it, but it would not be devastating here in the Ozarks. Most of the Ozarks might feel a little rumble. You know, the ground may move a little bit. Things might fall off the wall. But if you look at the geological studies, all that kind of stuff, where we are at, it's not going to be devastating. So I'm not worried. They don't do any fracking around here. So earthquakes is not necessarily high on my list of what to do for it where I'm at. And then we don't, you know, we don't live in a big structure that's going to collapse. We have things that we prepare for and can make it through a big earthquake. All right.
So
questions. Someone, Jean Shalom, wants to attend the meeting. If you need the information, just shoot me an email. In the description of about every one of my videos, I have an email that you can. Okay, babe, go ahead. Sorry.
Anybody that has emailed you and hasn't gotten a response more than 3 days ago needs to email you again.
That's fine. Yeah, if you're not getting, I'm roughly I'm anywhere between 3 and 5 days behind on emails. If you've been waiting longer than that, go ahead and shoot me an email. Understand, I'm just one dude. Well, my wife helps too.
Not very much. Not with emails.
She's busy with the kids and homeschooling and stuff like that. And then we're still, as you can tell, we're still in the process of finishing our house. We have a homestead. All of a sudden, in the last week or so, this channel has exploded. And I love getting emails, and I love trying to respond to emails, but there have been some days that I've received more than 200 emails in one day's time. And receiving 50 to 100 emails each day over the past couple of weeks is not unusual. So it's a lot. And we've actually talked today about working on structuring our time, because that's important to me. It's important for you. The emails you send me, the comments, some of them are very touching. Some of them are really wanting some advice, and I enjoy it. And I'm not going to do like some where they may charge to respond to emails or anything like that. There's businesses that do that. So you just try to be patient. If it's 3 to 5 days and you haven't gotten a response, shoot me an email and say, you know, maybe in the comment or the subject line, you know, sorry, you know, say something that'll grab my attention. But I apologize. There have been a lot of emails.
Somebody said, what are you going to do when you can't pay your property taxes once they implement this digital currency that you've been locked out of?
Well, it's a good question. You know, there's a lot of different answers to that. Some people think that, well, you know, they're just going to have to remove me from it. Will things get that bad? I don't know. My immediate answer is you better try to live in a place where the people that are collecting the property taxes aren't going to be that much falling in line with the system. In the county that we live in, which I'm not going to say, the county that we live in, I know this is an absolute fact, that the county leaders are extremely, extremely anti-Big Brother. Even to the fact that all this health crisis stuff that's going on, they have very much been anti that. And they've been, you know, if you want to get the thing, you can get the thing. They don't care, but they've not been pushing it. And so that's a big deal. If a crazy New World Order, Great Reset was fully implemented and all this kind of stuff, having a good county leadership that says, you know what, we're not
politicians.
You know,
we're
yeah,
the little guy.
Yeah, the little county leadership, that's important. Okay, that's probably the best question. Someone asked for my email again. It's preparedhomestead, all one word, preparedhomestead at protonmail.com. All right.
Somebody asked if there's Amish stores near where the meeting is.
The meeting up there, let's see, the closest. Now, the meeting's on Sunday, and Amish stores are not open on Sundays. But there are Amish probably 18 miles, maybe 20 miles from where we will be meeting. And there is a small Amish community that has a couple of really nice little stores there.
So like if you came on a Saturday, they would be open.
Yeah, if you came on a Saturday,
or a Monday.
Or if you stayed over till a Monday, there's definitely some Amish stores. And then there's a Mennonite grocery store for stocking up on like bulk food and stuff. About 40 miles from where we'll be having the meeting. All right. Why don't you answer? Someone asked. The little county guy is political. That's true. But you would be surprised. Having a county sheriff that is aware of what's going on is very important. County commissioners or whatever they're called in your county is very important. Is that the best answer? Probably not. Being ready to defend your own self with your neighbors is probably the best answer. But, hopefully that certain county officials and county sheriffs could be a barrier. But yeah, in the end, it may come down to it that we are taking our defense for ourselves and our family in our own hands. I don't really talk about that much on YouTube because, well, it keeps me from getting banned. And with all the stuff that's going on, I don't talk about those things on YouTube. I talk to you face to face. If you've ever been to one of my meetings, I'll talk to you about things like that. And you'll find that I'm very much a patriot and a rebel. So
tell the Texas people to calm down. I'm Texas proud, and we are not trying to knock
Are
it,
people in Texas getting upset?
Well, this person's like, San Antonio is to the right, where Austin is to the left, and this person's like, should I move from Texas now? And then this other person says, I never heard that about Texas.
I'll put it this way.
3 comments in a row about
the senator, Ted, what's your guys' senator down there in Texas? The conservative one. Can't think of his name right now. Anyways, no. Cruz. There, thank you. Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz did an interview. I think it was.
Put that down.
Oh, I can't remember who it was. Just last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and they were talking about that, and he said, "Yeah, definitely, Texas is moving that way rapidly, with the influx of illegals coming into the country, the state, and they're trying to, trying to push for them to have some type of voting rights. If you look at the voting from Texas over the past, I'd say 12 years, it's definitely made that move. I'm not saying that Texas is filled with a bunch of liberals. Don't get me wrong. Texas made a bad decision, I think, as a state, trying to encourage people from California, to encourage Californians to come to Texas. And I've always said, are there conservatives in California? Yes, but in the an LA area, conservatives in LA are like liberals in a lot of places in Texas. So I'm not knocking Texas, but there is I think, sorry, my wife, she's getting on to the kids. I believe that there's a big effort to push Texas to the left, because I think they know if they can take Texas down, that any state can come down. I think that they know that. So I'm not knocking any of you Texas folks. My wife and her whole family's from Texas, so I'm not doing that. But I think that there's been a huge effort. They proved they could do it in Virginia, and now they're going to do it in Texas. And if they can do it in Texas, then they can do it anywhere they want. All right.
Everybody, there are so many people on here that have said, we appreciate all of the information.
Thank you.
We enjoy your channel. Thank you for putting this out.
Someone just, hold on just a sec. Someone just moved here from, in Ozark County. The third night in their new house in Ozark County, Missouri. Brother, bro, vet. If you haven't emailed me, email me. That you're in our vicinity, sorta. If you can come to the meeting, please do. All right, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I couldn't tell you every time somebody said thank you, but there were tons of that. And
yes.
So much appreciation. A lot of people said that the article was really well
thank
written
you.
and they
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
I think the guy did an excellent job writing it. Yeah, rural California is 90% conservative. We have friends in California. That's absolutely true.
We have friends that moved. The same lady that homeschools moved from California.
Right, and we have friends in California. Yes, most of California, land-wise, is conservative. It's just unfortunate that there's like 10 million people in LA County, and they kind of, you know, and in a few other places, obviously.
Somebody
San
says,
Diego,
get your
San
house
Francisco.
In order, Travis. Start with the walls.
Stop it. And you know, one of the biggest reasons is the last...
That's Bridget. She's trying to help me
Okay. Lumber prices are still a little high. And the last 2 times I went and checked on the prices of the stuff that I know it's not lumber, but some of it is. Some of the walls were doing in a wood. The prices were 2 or 3 times what they really should be. And so I'm thinking, well, you know, we have all these other things that are actually more important than just putting something on this wall. Okay. That's why it's still that way.
So do we have nuclear power plants in the Ozarks?
No. Everything here is hydro or coal.
And somebody wants to know if you have a backup place to go to if things go sideways where we are.
Well, yes, but I'm not going to tell that.
Well, I think it's good to tell people that no matter where you are.
We do. I mean, I do. I know places. I know. You have to also understand that our property, in fact, the National Forest boundary line cuts halfway through our property. And the National Forest is right there. And it's large. And the dog's going to come over here and try to knock the camera over. Get out of here. So, yes, there's that. Living how we do, there's very, very few reasons. Yes, part of Mark Twain, and Mark Twain's all over Missouri, so that's not telling you where we live. How we live and how we do, we're not going to bug out for very many reasons. There's only a few reasons to bug out. I always say I'm living at my bug out location, but I could see a reason, that we might have to bug out for. But for the most part, our plan is to stand our ground right here.
Do you interact with Living Traditions Homestead?
No, I don't. They are doing, and I was going to promote it, like in our little group and everything. They're not putting it on, I don't think, but they're speaking at a homestead kind of symposium kind of thing, whatever, here in the Ozarks, the last weekend of this month. And if you are in the Ozarks, there's going to be several. I think Zach Bauer, who's another YouTuber, and I do know him. He's going to be there speaking, and then Living Traditions Homestead's going to be there, and I can't remember all the other speakers. It's supposed to be a really cool event. We're going to try to make it there for probably one day, like on a Friday. And I think it's like the 27th and 28th, 26th and 27th, and it's in, is it Mansfield? Mansfield, Missouri Symposium. I think it's Mansfield. That's not the right word. It's a homesteading event. Where they have classes and they teach you how to homestead and all this kind of stuff. It's I think in Mansfield, Missouri, which is in Douglas County. Is Mansfield in Douglas County? No, Mansfield's I think in Wright County. Anyways, that's when it is. Oh, it's Marshfield. Someone chimed in. Yeah, Marshfield. Okay, so Marshfield. It's in Marshfield, Missouri, and
Not Mansfield.
Yeah, Mansfield is a town, but
Marshfield.
Mansfield's south of Marshfield. Sorry, I got it mixed up.
So-
Homesteaders of America. There it is. You guys are awesome. Homesteading Expo. Someone's chiming in and telling me that.
Tell them to look at the.
No, someone
your
says
viewers,
it's Mansfield. Ozark Homesteading Expo. It's August 27th and
it's in
28th.
Marshfield or at Mansfield?
Now they're saying no, it's Mansfield.
Okay. So
I don't remember. There's a lot of people from the Ozarks in this room. Yes, that's correct.
Wild Mike in the Ozarks says that the Ozark mountain range is the oldest in the world.
There is a belief in that. I have read that before. That
Well, aquifers.
yes, depending on how you believe and stuff, there is some scientific evidence to indicate that the Ozark Mountains could possibly be the oldest.
We have a friend
in the world. What?
Terry Lynn. She says it's in Marshfield.
Marshfield. Marshfield.
She has
I don't
tickets.
know.
She's got
She's got tickets.
And it's in Marshfield.
Okay.
She texted me.
I don't know. Anyways.
She's trying to help us out, but it's Marshfield.
Marshfield. It's in Marshfield. Marshfield. Everyone's correcting saying it's Marshfield. Yes, the Ozarks. And the Ozarks has I believe it's the largest in the United States. It may not be the largest. It may be the second. But I think it's the largest freshwater, deep underwater aquifer. Nearly the entire Ozark region, at least in Missouri and then part of northern Arkansas, there's a humongous, massive aquifer system. That's why there's so many springs and everything. I don't know. Someone's wife's showing me some comments.
I just don't know what you want to answer.
I don't care.
To.
Anyways, someone's making some negative comments, and I just don't address those.
What type of internet service did you get?
Someone asking about internet service. I've talked about it before, but I'll mention it again. We went with a cellular company. You get the little home cellular internet. Usually those are pretty good, but sometimes the data cap for the high speed is not that high. The one around here, there's a regional one called US Cellular, and it's not on their website, but if you call them and ask, they are offering some kind of special program kind of thing, only available in certain areas. And you get the Wi-Fi router that plugs in and it connects with the cell towers, and you have Wi-Fi, and it's pretty high speed for out here. On good days we're hitting 50 to 60 megabit per second. On the low end about 30, and that's on the download. And then an upload speeds anywhere from 10 to 15, that's really good. And the data cap for the high speed is 200 gig a month, and then after that it slows down to 3G speeds. And with the equipment and everything, I think it's $72 a month, $73, something like that. Anyways, someone mentioned Starlink. Starlink is not available. It's still in beta testing in this area, and there's no fiber optic around. The only other options is just your cell phone, or and someone says Starlink's the part of the system. Elon. It could be, and then
all of it is.
And then there's also satellite internet like HughesNet and stuff, which if you're not using a lot of internet, that might be all right. But for doing the kind of uploads and live streams, we needed more, and so far this US Cellular is working out really good for us. I think US Cellular's doing it because anyways, I think there's a troll in the room.
Where?
Anyways, I think that the US Cellular doing that internet's probably because they know that Starlink's coming soon, so they're offering a new package to try to. Yeah, satellite internet is not reliable at all.
What do you feed your ducks and chickens?
Ducks and chickens get a half and half mixture of like just a grain scratch and then an egg crumble. And we don't feed them that much. You know, they free range, so they're getting most of their food free ranging. They, oh, is someone okay, so if there's someone upset, then I don't know. Is there someone?
What's going on?
I don't know. Someone's saying there is a. I don't know what's going on in the chat room.
See it.
Someone says that there's an upset patriot in the chat room. I don't know what's going on. Oh, someone's saying, you know, like fight patriots and all that kind of stuff. I get it. I get it. Okay.
Oh, the same person that earlier said, "Are you not going to answer?" And then he said, "No disrespect. I'm upset. Everyone taking the easy way out, waiting on the next man to make a change." But we're not here to call.
Yeah.
That's not part of.
You know, just because I don't talk about things like that and taking those kind of actions does not mean that I don't think those and don't agree with those and don't share those same feelings. This is YouTube. Just don't talk about that kind of stuff on here.
Focused on,
you know,
helping people prepare.
Yes, we do have to stand together. We do need to band together. I believe that absolutely. That's why I push for that a lot with, you know, local meetings, local groups. That's why we're doing that here. You know, we have 100+ people coming to our meetings. Not bragging about that. It's just, you know, we're trying to do the best that we can to get ourselves ready, because in the end, it doesn't matter who's in the White House. You're right. It does not matter who's in the White House. It doesn't matter who's in the governor's mansion. It doesn't matter anywhere. What matters is what you're willing to stand up and do, and to cross that line, because it may happen someday. We may have to do that. And if we do, I would rather it come in my lifetime than in my children's lifetime. So yes, we prepare for that kind of stuff. I just don't talk about that kind of stuff on YouTube. That's, you know, there's, if you want to know about guns, there's lots of gun channels. If you want to know about prepping, homesteading, what's going on in the world, what you need to wake up for, we'll talk about that over here. But when you mix the two, that's when they get upset, because then it starts looking like you're a crazy person that's going to do something. So I don't talk about it.
And then somebody mentioned, like, you've had several people mention that you need mods, and you've already addressed this, but it's later in the chat now. So
yes, we're working on that. We're, you know, the Telegram chat room exploded, meaning there was lots and lots of, and we have a Telegram chat room. Lots of people joined, and it got out of hand. There was some trolls in there. There was things being talked about that just did not fit within, you know, the bounds of what we're trying to do here. And so we've got some people now volunteered that they're going in there and they're cleaning that up. I've not ever done a lot. I know that's on Telegram. We've never done a lot of live streams because I haven't had the internet bandwidth to do it. It was too slow. So we've just not done a lot of live streams. And now that we're going to start doing live streams more, my wife, you know, she's in there moderating. She'll probably need some help with some people that we know that's willing to jump on and moderate, because you know how it is. There's always crazy people that like to get in and say crazy things. And then sometimes it's good people that are, you know, subscribers and stuff, but they say things that kind of takes it a little too far. And I don't like censorship. I don't like it. But if we're going to be on this platform, you know, we do have to monitor what we say. You know, you want to meet with me over a cup of coffee somewhere and talk about these things, and we can talk all day long. I'll talk your ear off and you can talk my ear off, because that's the kind of stuff I like to talk about also. But this is just not the platform to discuss those kind of matters. And that's just my opinion.
Somebody says your hat says it all.
That's right. And I mean this.
Thank you.
But
for
yeah,
your
I needed
help
probably a
and
few
common
mods.
sense.
You're very welcome. You know, with the going back to the email thing, there's a lot of email. Gray Man Prepping's getting off. Thank you very much for stopping by. Gray Man Prepping is another great channel. If you don't watch Gray Man Prepping or subscribe to over there, go ahead and check out Gray Man Prepping. And thank you for dropping in to this channel or this live stream. Anyways, Going back to
so you do have hair.
I do have hair, yes. Sorta. It's kind of getting a little thin, maybe on the sides. Anyways, I need a haircut bad. My wife keeps telling me that. I'm going to get off here in a few minutes, but satellite is horrible. But what I was talking about with emails, I'm getting inundated with emails. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't send them. Continue to send me your emails, and I will continue doing the best that I can. My wife and I are trying to work out a schedule that like maybe 2 to 3 evenings a week that we just sit down and that's all we do. Get the kids doing something to get out of our hair, and then we just sit and we work on emails for 2 or 3 hours to get caught up. So be patient. If it's like an emergency, which I don't know why you'd be messaging me for email me for emergency, but if it is, put it in all caps in the subject, that it's urgent or whatever, so I'll see it. Patrick is getting off here from Missouri Liberty Alliance, which is another YouTube channel. Go over to Missouri Liberty Alliance. He's an amazing guy. He's actually going to be one of our speakers at this next meeting. And he puts out, especially for you Missouri people, the Missouri Liberty Alliance YouTube channel. You should be on there. He's just started the YouTube channel, but he's been doing this kind of work for years. Talking about what's going on here in Missouri and how they're trying to push Missouri. He's trying to continue to push Missouri towards the direction of liberty, and getting things in place legally to try to put as much buffer as we can between us and this federal and international globalist movement that's coming this way.
Somebody says that you have mentioned some Torah observant boards. Can you send info? Also recommend Torah Observant Prepper Services. Do you know?
I don't know what Torah Observant Prepper Services are. Or
are they asking for that?
I'm not sure.
Like them to clarify the question.
There is. I'm trying to remember what it's called. There is a new website out there, and it's kind of like it's not like Facebook necessarily. If any of you have been on Gab, which is that like Facebook alternative, there's a new one, but it's for Torah observant folks. But I can't remember what it's called. If anyone knows the website address, to leave it in the comments. I'm on there. I'm not like active or anything on there really, but because it's just gotten started. But anyways, it looks like a pretty good platform. It's a social media platform for Torah observant folks. I don't know anything about the people that started it, but it looks pretty cool. All right. Maybe just a few more questions. In Eastern Ozarks, well, there's a few people that come to our meetings that are in the Eastern Ozark area. And so part of the point of coming to the meetings, our meetings are pretty large, getting to be pretty large. That's not like a mutual assistance group. The meetings, Sarah's saying goodbye. Goodbye, Sarah. Good night, Sarah. The meetings are for people to come and network, learn a little. We have classes. Hey, love you too. No disrespect taken. The meetings are for people to come, have some classes, learn. We have a lot of mingling time. The meeting starts at 2, the doors open at noon. And then sometimes people stay around till 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And so the point is that you can find others in your area and then start building little mag groups or little local groups in your, because obviously we can't have a community that's an actual working community that's the entire state, because it's too far for people to drive and communicate. So what we're doing is come here, and then you can break off into little groups, and we'll help facilitate that if we need to.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about.
One more thing.
This is people are asking about regions, like what you were just saying.
Yes.
And one of our goals is like what you just said, is to help people from all over Missouri. This is like the umbrella group.
Right.
And then to facilitate people to make smaller groups.
Yes, and we're going to...
And the way we're going to do that is start... Is that what you were about to say?
Yes, that's what I was...
Like having a sign-up sheet.
Yeah, there's another couple, a friend of ours that's we've been talking with them also. That kind of founding, these are founding member people that's been helping get these meetings going, and so they're going to kind of help with that. And, you know, we're not trying to get information from you or anything. We're just trying to help
We just
figure
want
out,
region.
you know, break it up into different regions.
Because the map didn't work out. I
And
think
yeah,
we
the
should-
map didn't work out only because it was too big and too much. So we're going to start bringing it down to local and then spread from there. And we're, you know, we'll be asking questions, because we're, like, for instance, you know, we have this meeting that people from all over come to. And then we're working on having meetings for just really local people around where I live. Like, I'm trying to, this meeting that I'm talking about on August 22nd that we have every month, it's not about me. It's not for people to come and see me, this YouTube guy. Who cares? I'm just a guy. This is to come and learn and to meet each other so that we can go out into our areas and try to replicate this throughout the state. In the same way, I'm working on having a meeting separately that I'm not going to announce on here, for people that truly are local to where I live, people that I've met through this channel, through this meeting, some people that I just know around here. And we're already talking, and we're going to have our own separate private meeting, like mag type meeting. And so that's what we're trying to do. I only talk about, someone asked, do I publicize the meetings? Number one, there's no internet where we have our meeting, or I would do like a live stream or anything. It doesn't, it's not working
Somebody
like that
asked-
here. But we,
Sorry,
if
guys.
you want to know about the meeting, if you want to attend, it's here in the Ozarks, shoot me an email, preparedhomestead@protonmail.com, and we can talk. And it is open to the public. I just don't put that information on here because you never know what crazy person might show up.
Somebody asked if this is messianic, because we just said Torah observant, but we want to make sure that we have, like, I want people to understand that
I don't get caught up
we
on titles
have
and
people
names. Yeah.
who are Buddhist, for instance,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Jewish.
Yes.
I think we've even had somebody.
I get emails from people of
every-
all different
we're
types
more
of faiths
focused
and non-faiths. I've had people that email,
on
even though
facing-
I don't agree with it. Yeah, they'll email me and they'll say, I'm an atheist, you know. And we agree.
We are really more focused. I think what our goal is to help people, to help one another.
Right.
In the in
Right.
emergency situations.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if it's acute, like a snowstorm,
Right.
or if it's a long-term thing.
Yes,
We
the
just
groups
want-
are open, David. Yes, sorry. I'm answering a question and I'm
No, it's
listening to her.
Somebody said I need my own mic.
I saw that Pinball's having a meet and greet in October. I did see that. So yeah, when I talk about Torah observant, that's, you know.
Where's Pinball located?
He's in Tennessee, and I can't remember
okay.
what part. I think he's over more eastern Tennessee. Anyways, so yeah, that's what we were talking about. As far as
It's
like
a
religious
mag.
beliefs, yes, I believe we're living in the end times, and I believe that that what we're seeing overall
Millennial
is spiritual warfare. I believe that, but you may not believe that. That's fine. But it doesn't mean that you're not welcome here just because we don't share the same religious
but
beliefs.
that's what I was just saying. It's
So,
it's a mutual
know,
assistance group.
mutual assistance group is what we're trying to
Yeah,
form.
I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. I just want people to understand that everybody's welcome and we shouldn't
Right.
be focused.
Yeah, there are people that
on
come to the meetings of
division
all
and
different race,
divisiveness.
of all different of religious beliefs.
We're interested in
we're
unity.
not focused on your what race you are, what skin color you are, what you believe spiritually. Yes, there are certainly a lot of Torah observant people that come there, but that doesn't mean that you're not welcome if you're not. If you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you're a Muslim, as long as you believe in the traditional values that I talk about on here, as long as you're wanting to be prepared and you want to be self-sufficient and you believe in family values, all that kind of stuff. The rest of it, that's between you and God, right? And as long as you're not there trying to push your beliefs off on anyone else, and you want to, and you're there to be a decent, respectful human being, that's all that matters, really.
Somebody says the same man says I'm not messianic, but I am Jewish.
Okay.
So I just want him to know that that's
right.
He's very welcome and we understand.
Yes.
And it isn't.
Yeah. There's a.
It's not like the. I'm sorry. I'm going to be quiet. I'll stop. I'll let you do your channel.
All right. Any other questions?
I just think
No other questions. I can't believe it. It's like the chat room just stopped.
I know.
My dog is wanting to get up on my lap. My son's dog. Go lay down. You can't get up here.
So, like this person says, start meetings.
Dark winter is coming. Yeah, I believe that.
Well, somebody just said that the dark winter is
I believe that.
After lockdowns this winter. That's the one that he was talking about.
I do. Someone talked about had another thing about faith and religion. I do occasionally, and I planned on it this week, and I ran out of time. I usually do. A lot of times, I do Bible studies on Saturdays, and that's my video that I put up on Saturday. So I'm not ashamed to talk about that. So don't think that at all. All right. Well, folks, the chat seems to have slowed down a little bit. Whoops. Someone said,
the dark elf coming too.
Would love to come to a local meeting. Someone lives in the Kabul area. That's not too far from the meeting place. So we go there to the Shetler's grocery store every so often to do some stocking up. It's a Mennonite-run grocery store. Someone in Topeka, Kansas. That's right.
Somebody asked,
come out of her, my people. Huh?
How diverse is our group?
I'd say it's pretty diverse. You know, what do you mean diverse? You know, there's people of different skin color, people of different beliefs show up. There's old, there's young, there's people that are, you know, ex-military, there's people that aren't, there's people that are old, there's people that are young, there's little children running around, there's teenagers there. There's people that have no clue what they're doing about prepping or homesteading, but they really, really want to learn. And then, like I said, there's people that could run circles around most of us because they're experts, and they're there also.
Somebody wants to know my name again.
My wife's name is Rivka. It's I think, considering the Ozarks, it's very diverse. You know, people have different opinions of diverse, but it's very accepting. You know, there's people there of, how about liberals? You know, very much most of the people there are probably conservative or libertarian minded. If you're not there to get into you know, kind of an argument or fight, you're welcome to be there if you're a liberal. I actually have decent liberals that are on my channel and that email me and stuff, and they love to watch the channel. They say, I don't agree with you on some things, but I'm a liberal, or I'm a more classic liberal, which I understand is libertarian, or they're more like the old school Democrat, you know. As long as you're, you know, want to participate in a decent civilized manner, then that's fine. How far from Branson? I'm not sure how far it is from Branson. I would say probably 3-hour drive from Branson is what I'm going to guess. All right.
You've gotten tons of emails.
I know I think a lot. I'm getting a lot of emails.
Right
yeah.
Now, you've gotten more emails.
Yeah, a lot of you are emailing me, and that's fine. I won't probably get to all of them tonight, but we will work on them over the next couple of days.
People are asking if you are associated with Viking Preparedness or Bear Independent.
No.
And are also asking for places to meet other like-minded.
I am associated with myself and my wife.
Oh.
And that's it. I don't know that I've met face-to-face really any other YouTube prepper channels. I'm trying to remember. Bear Independent, TJ and I have, it's been a long time. It's been over a year and a half. We talked on the phone a couple of times. That was it. That was before his channel got huge, and mine was still very small. NWA Prepper. Now that guy, we've talked on the phone. He's kind of like my brother from another mother when it comes to just being there for me. But you know, I don't really know any of these guys, probably much more than you do. Occasionally, you know, some of us YouTube prepper channels, you know, get an email from each other, but that's about it. You know, like when Pinball Preparedness, when he got kicked off for a couple of weeks, I had a couple of people email me. In fact, he emailed me, I think, at that time also. But that's about it. You know, I'm on Viking Preparedness's Patreon page. If you're over there, if you're a Patreon of Viking Preparedness, I'm over there also. I'm just a normal Patreon there. But that's it. Someone from Canada. That's a long way. Someone from Douglas County, Gene. Yes, Pastor Joe Fox's Viking Preparedness. He lives southwest, mostly west of us, a little south, and then west. Because he's down in Arkansas and we're up in Missouri. And I think Bear Independent is over in Oklahoma. Isn't he on the Oklahoma-Arkansas kind of line? I think. All right. Any Asian members in your group? We usually have a few Asian. Someone asked that. We have, you know, I hate to focus on race. I hate to focus on race. But yes, we have every meeting we've had. It's diverse. There's Hispanic families that come. There was a family that were, I don't know, they were Asian of descent of something Asian descent. They came a couple of times. They're working on moving here. There have been African American families that's shown up, and some of them come on a regular basis. So if anyone's trying to go down that road as if it's just a bunch of white people there, no, that's not correct. It's not just a bunch of white people. There's a lot of diversity, especially considering. Oops, son just about knocked the camera stand over. Especially considering the Ozarks, which, you know, isn't the most racially diverse, but I think much more so than most people realize. It's much more tolerant. People are closed off here that are native, you know, Ozarkians, because they don't want people come here and try to change what we have here. But it's not as bad as what a lot of people think it is. A lot of people have this idea that the Ozarks is a bunch of crazy racist people, and it's just not true at all. Prepared Homestead. I'm sorry, my email is preparedhomestead at Patreon mail. Oh, sorry. Preparedhomestead at protonmail.com. Let's see. Someone pole shifting. I'm going to make another video soon on that. That is a long subject. I'm starting to get wore out here. Yeah. I think there's a very likely chance that we're headed down that path of the pole shifting. They have moved substantially. We have to understand that.
She's getting hurt.
Oh, start. My daughter did something, made a noise, and startled me. We have to understand that a lot of the scientific data on pole shifting and magnetic field is not public information. This is information that government scientists hold, and we just aren't privy to it. And even other scientists a lot of times aren't privy to it. But yeah, I do think that that's the direction that we're headed. All right,
Natives are getting restless.
Yes, I'm gonna get off here. Kids are getting restless. They've been quiet for 2 hours now.
You guys did a great job.
So yes, the kids have all done a great job. We have a almost 13-year-old. He will be 13 this week, boy, and then we have a 8-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. They are twins that are here, and all our other children are grown up, moved out of the house. So we don't talk about them. They don't live here. Only the important children are left. Just kidding. Oh. Just kidding.
We miss them all.
Yes. They could all come live here if they wanted to, and that's exactly how we have things kind of set up. All right, folks, I am going to get off here. Thank you all for watching. Emails, if you have questions, if I missed a comment, just email me. If I missed a question, if you had a question and we missed it, just email it to me, and I'll answer it privately. And thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. You folks are the best on YouTube. You just are. You're the best. You're all awesome. All right. Have a good night, folks. I'm going to sign off.